How's it going, gang? Okay, so today I'm going to talk about prejudice and racists. Now, what I'm about to tell you at first, it won't make sense till we get into it for a minute, but I'm about to tell you something that is an absolute truth. There is a difference between prejudice and being racist. Think about that for a second. Being prejudiced and being a racist are not always the same thing. And I submit to you this truth to think about. Being prejudiced is necessary and good. Being racist or being a racist is never good. Now, let's break this down. If you're prejudiced, it means that you don't like or you hate or you're against a person or a group of people because of a commonality they share. Now, sometimes that can be race. And that's just a bad prejudice. It's an evil prejudice, okay? I'll call it evil. It's evil. It don't matter who it is, whether it's Hispanic on black, black on white, white on black, white on Hispanic. It doesn't matter. All racial prejudice is bullshit and evil. But prejudice doesn't always have to be racial. And every one of you all are prejudiced. There's not a person on the planet that's not. So now I'm going to get to this point. And this irritates me. Is you have these people who say, oh, I don't judge anybody. Don't judge me. Don't judge people. Yeah, you're such a hypocrite when you say that, because just in saying that, you've already judged those of us who do openly judge people, because I do, and I don't mind telling you that. I'm very prejudiced, but I'm not a racist. And I'm about to show you how you are too. Okay, so prejudice is not liking a person or a group of persons based upon a commonality they share. So for me, I'm open about it. I have no problem with my prejudice. It's kept me safe. It's helped me out in a lot of situations. Every one of you all judge. Even the people who swear they don't, you judge. I want to ask you a question. Did you get up this morning with the plans to go socialize and hang out with pedophiles? Did you make plans, or do you have plans, or would you go hang out with murderers? Have you, do you, or will you associate with thieves and liars and troublemakers? Okay, so the whole point is you didn't go have breakfast with a pedophile group this morning because you prejudged, you had a prejudice against them, and you judged that your life is better than theirs because you don't participate in those things. I'm not saying you're morally incorrect. I'm just saying you prejudged. You literally have a prejudice. And I have a prejudice with that. Let me give you an example. I have a prejudice against people who wear their pants halfway down their ass and their underwear hanging out. I see that person, I automatically know they have no self-respect, because here's the thing, they're trying to be unique like everybody else. I mean, they are their own juxtaposition. And the sad part about it is everyone I've ever talked to is a dumbass. I mean, when I get into their head and talk to them about common sense issues, they're just clueless because the only thing in their mind is their rebellious spirit. And I'm going to tell you something, a rebellious spirit that is constantly in motion is one that's in turmoil. And you cannot be turmoil, be happy, and at one with yourself in such a way that you're able to arrive at a peaceful you at any time. And that's a lot of people these days, okay? That's how people have just turned out to be. So let me say this, you've already judged people, even the people who say, well, I don't judge anybody, and don't you judge me. Well, hell no, you already judged me because I willingly admit I have prejudices. That doesn't mean I'm a racist at all. You know, I have black, brown, white, yellow, red friends and acquaintances. The difference between those two is friends, I'll share intimate details of my life maybe and invite them on adventures in my life because I like being around them. Acquaintances are people I talk to. I'm courteous too. I don't have anything against them. I just don't really know them. They're just acquainted with them. I know who they are, but I don't know who they are. Now, having said that, everybody's prejudiced. Everybody judges. And it's good for you. It keeps you out of trouble. I'm prejudiced against people who use heroin and fentanyl and meth and crack. Now, does that mean I hate them? No. But I know that I'm not going to go hang out with them in their environment where they're in charge of everything. Now, if they want to come to me, to my environment, where I'm in charge of everything, and people that know me know this is truth, they're welcome to be around me. There are people, many people, who will tell you they've done that. They've come to my place, and they've been given, I'm just going to put it simply, for lack of a better word, they've been kind of given a life temporarily to relax, a place to calm and recuperate and think about the direction they're headed and get some, advice and, share some thoughts and get their ideas and their heads together. So I'm prejudiced against them. It still doesn't mean I hate them. It just means that, look, I'm not going to hang out with you in your environment. Not on your home court. You can come to my home court anytime. Cup of coffee, food, some drink, conversation. We'll sit and talk. I'm good with that. I'm not going to your environment. Not on your home court because I don't do those things. But hey, if you want to change a life, come on, and I'll welcome you in. So what I'm saying is we are all prejudiced. We all judge. And if you say you don't, think about those instances I gave you, because there are people you refuse to hang out with, and you will not, because you have already judged your life to be better than theirs, whether it's on a moral basis or not. You've already judged that what you do and the way you act is morally better in most cases, like the pedophiles, the murderers, the thieves, the drug addicts, the da-da-da-da-da, okay? And that's why you're not out making big plans to socialize with them, because you've prejudged those people. Now, for the people who are pedophiles, murderers, thieves, and drug addicts and drug dealers, well, hell, I don't expect you to have any prejudices, because you can't even respect yourself enough to judge that what you're doing is a bad thing. That's a moral problem. It's not a judging problem. That's just you're stupid. Or evil, maybe both, I don't know. And in most cases, evil is what it is. I'm not afraid to call it. And the sad part about this is we see the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, the Bidens, and everybody else pushing all these racial narratives because they need you to be a viable entity. They need your dependence on them for them to justify their own damn existence. Honestly, I wish everybody would just stop giving them any justification so them sons of bitches would just fade away forever. Because they could fall off the planet right now, wouldn't break my heart at all. I know people say, well, you're not supposed to say that. Well, hell no, I'm going to tell you what. The Jews, when Nebuchadnezzar was doing his evil stuff, thought the same thing, and they were justly thinking it. All right? It's unclear what really happened there. I mean, we know he wound up in a field, right? Well, most of you don't know the end of Nebuchadnezzar, but it's kind of unclear as to what happened to him really there. It kind of does leave him out, you know, in the cold, and you can't tell, did he really repent, or was he just, you know, brokenhearted that he got caught kind of thing. And I think that's what's going to happen to a lot of people who watch this video. You're going to be brokenhearted that I called you out on your prejudice and your judgment while you're telling people not to be prejudiced and not to judge. Absolutely be prejudiced. Don't be immorally so. Be prejudiced. However, never ever be racist, because the wrapper that a soul comes in is not a determination in whether they're a good person or not. Do you hear me? You can't tell people that somebody with a certain skin color, even if it's white, which seems to be the big racism thing really these days, that they're inherently evil because of that wrapper, okay? It's what's inside of that wrapper. And I want you all to think about that for people who are really struggling with it. You know, Martin, I don't know how many people know this, but Martin Luther King said that it was the content of one's character and not the color of their skin. But the media, the Democrats and the liberals want you to think it's still about the skin color. They're trying to erase what Martin Luther King did, as they did when he was doing it. The Democrats hated him. And the Democrats were, at that time, ran by the KKK. And that's just a fact. I mean, you can look that up. It's not like I'm hiding it. They need you to need them to be viable. They want you to buy into this racism thing, and they don't want you to be prejudiced, and they don't want you to be racist when that's all they really are. And they're trying to redefine everything. Most people think that prejudice and racism are the same thing, and they're simply not. They can be, because you can hate a group of people based upon the commonality of their skin color, but that's immoral. Period, plain and simple. However, that same group of people is trying to say, look, the Constitution is evil, and the whole thing behind the governing laws of the United States is against black people. The leader of the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King, said this: I came to, go look at this, Google his speech. He said, I came to cash in on the check that was written 200 years ago that says all men are created equal, right? He came to cash that check. It was time to get that, not only the affirmation, but I love this, in other words, the reward from the Declaration that said all men are created equal. Don't mean they act equal. Don't mean they're equally nice. Don't mean they're equally evil either. Doesn't mean they're equally angelic by any means, okay? But they are equal in their beginning and what they have to work with. And anyone can change. And I'm asking you to make the change. Be prejudiced. Save your life and your soul in doing so. And a lot of drama and headache. Never be racist. Judge that you be not judged. Simply meant this: whatever you judge in, whatever way you judge in, you will be judged by that. Which is a simple way of saying, it's a complicated way of saying what? Don't be a hypocrite. If you're going to judge that guy, okay, because of his skin color, you're going to be judged by your skin color. Okay? If you're going to judge this guy by any means, that's the same means you'll be judged by. So if you're doing that stuff, don't judge people. Don't be a hypocrite. That's all it's saying. Don't be a hypocrite. Because Peter said, judgment must first begin in the house of God. That's where it starts with us. We have to have judgment, not damnation. Judgment and damnation are two separate things. Absolutely judge. Judge rightfully. Judge morally, but never be racist. I love you all. Peace.